Quite the display of destruction. And to think, only the two of us could pull something like this off. I wonder where they could be. I see. Look at you. Any other time and you would have moved that debris off of you by now. Well, aren't you going to struggle? No use. That is certainly new. What happened to that self-confidence you always wore? The hope you always bolster around to the people? Not this time, huh? Here. Let me. There. At least you'll be able to breathe a little better. I can see it now. That look in your eyes. I've never seen that before. That's it. It's over. Isn't it? It's funny when you think about it. You always hear these tales about the hero always stopping the villain and saving the day, or, in some cases, the death of the villain themselves. But that's not the case here, is it? Our conclusion is different. Oh. I see you have just enough strength to speak. Although, it is faltering. No. I'm not going to put you out of your misery. I still need a minute to soak this all in. The fact that this is the reality for us now. Besides, no one else is here. And your pain, it must be unbearable. But that pain is nothing compared to dying alone. So I'll do something good, for once, and I'll sit here with you. I know. I'm the worst. But that's the point. If not, then why do we even bother fighting each other? Actually, hold that thought, if you still can. I'll come back to that. After all, you must be wondering why I would waste my time with you in your final moments. It is complicated, to say the least. I'm sure most evildoers, if they were in my shoes, would be leaping for joy right about now. But not me. I don't feel joy. If anything, I feel regret, turmoil, even. And a turmoil I know will eventually evolve into emptiness. I cannot deny that I have brought this upon myself. I would be a fool if I didn't accept that. There is one thing you must understand. I did this. I knew what I was getting into when I started this. And even though I don't know where I'll be at the end, when it's all over, I know what my end goal is. Whether I get the chance to accomplish it or not is for fate to decide, I suppose. The only person who had a chance to stop me was you. Today, fate has decided that this is where our eternal struggle ends. Like I said earlier, I should be overjoyed, but I'm not. Perhaps there's a reason as to why. As my main source of happiness was lost so long ago. Every day, I still think about them. Every day. How could one not? There's no need to apologize. As you should already know, I won't accept it. It's not easy for someone to bury their wife and child. And you know, I still wonder, why? Out of all of those people, why them? What did they ever do to anyone or anything? Did they truly deserve to leave this living realm before I did? Add in the fact that you just couldn't save them in time. You were too busy with another villain from your rogues gallery. But you remember, right? When we locked eyes, as I was holding the two things in this world that I loved most. I'm sure you felt it. In that moment, my gaze upon you, the weight of guilt on those mighty shoulders of yours. Even back then, I can't help but believe that you knew. You knew this would not be the last time we crossed paths. And when we met again, I was ready. I had studied everything I needed to know about you. But even now, you hardly know anything about me. Out of all of the other villains, I was the only one who knew how to gain a handle on you. The powers didn't matter. What mattered is that I could put you in your place, ground you back down to earth. I knew how to hurt you. Just like how you hurt me. And yet, that was the only thing I couldn't help to wonder. Why? Why does it still hurt? Now that I think about it, I'm not the only one you failed to save, am I? No. I'm just the worst. The one that came back to haunt you more than anyone else. I bet it keeps you up at night, wondering where you went wrong. Don't feel too bad. It happens to me too. Even in your weakened state, you still insist that an apology can fix this. It may dishearten you to hear this, but it won't. It never will. They say that you'll get over it, that it's all a part of life, but I never got over it. Not yet, at least. And it terrifies me to no end, knowing that I may never get over it. It's funny, we've been doing this for years, and this is the only time I think you've ever agreed with me. What is it that you're looking for? Some form of comfort? Maybe redemption? Acceptance? Or maybe to buy time? Some heroes they must be, huh? They're taking their sweet time to come and save you, and yet you waste no time at all, returning the favor for them. Truly ungrateful hypocrites, huh? You know, if it makes you feel any better, I get the same kind of treatment all the time. In my field, your allies aren't allies. Not unless they can get something out of you, or worse, leave you to perish so they can save their own necks. No one cares about the bad guys. They'll only care when they hear about your funeral. It'll be more of a celebration than anything. But not you. When you pass on, and judging by that fleeting look in your eyes, you will. They'll gather around. All of your family, your loved ones, the people you saved, the heroes that you've inspired, your friends and teammates and strangers who believe in you and still will believe even after you're gone. They'll be there, shedding tears, sending condolences, planting memorials. You, my friend, will go down as a legend, an inspiration for heroes to come. You will be remembered. Well, I will not. There's no need for your pity. True. How could you forget a face like mine? I remember that day when I showed you who I was. The real me. That reaction. Your face was filled with such horror and shock upon realization I could never forget. Why did I do what? Exactly. Show you my face. Well, the reason seems foolish, but I wanted to show you that it was more than just a costume. It was a choice. A choice that I willingly made. And when my path revealed itself, there was nothing else left for me to do than to follow it. The mask and the costume mean nothing if you're not willing to accept the dangers and the horrors it brings. The things I would have to do to make my goals possible. The people I would have to sacrifice. The lives I would have to take. But you would know something about that, wouldn't you? When you decided to be the hero that you are now, was it a choice? With that being said, I must ask, do you regret it now? At the end. I feel as though you are lying to me. But then again, you're not the type to lie like that. After all, what would be the point? Do I regret this? I'm sure you already know the answer to that question. Don't you? You don't need to hear my answer. To be honest, I'm still contemplating it myself. Well, back on topic, since this seems to be almost the end. There's one thing I always wondered about. It seems you've read my mind. You know who I am. The only thing I couldn't figure out was just who you were. I came close, many times. But in the end, I never came to a proper conclusion. So I must know. Just who is behind that mask? May I? Good, because even if you didn't agree, I would have done so anyway. You. It was you. All this time. I never would have thought. I guess now, this brings a whole new meaning to personal business. What do you mean it's not too late? No. No. Don't give me that. It was too late the day I lost everything. How? How could you try and tell me that? My wife and child were my everything. What else do I have left? Despite everything, you still have hope for me, don't you? Yeah, you always have. Huh? What? No. You shouldn't forgive me so easily. Do I forgive you? Well, what do you know? It looks like they finally got off their butts and did something, huh? Isn't that exciting? Hey. Wait. No pulse. I see. I guess you held out just long enough for one last conversation. Now that I know the truth, I have a lot to think about. The sirens are getting closer, which means it's my time to leave, but before I do, don't worry about your sidekick. I'll make sure they become just as great as you were, even if it costs me my life. I will keep them safe, and I'll make sure they have a chance to avenge you and kill me, and finally put an end to this vicious cycle we started. It's hard to believe, you know. A world without you. Goodbye, hero. We will see each other again, I'm sure.